And it is the RR Show. I am Vince. We have got some great stories for you today. 3 from TIFU, 1 from Petty Revenge, and then I am not sure we've been in this subreddit for a while. It is r/stories. So lots of good stuff on this episode of the RR Show, which begins right now. Our first story comes from r/TIFU, posted by user CinnamonRoll247. TIFU by trying to shave. I am a man. Men have facial hair. I am clumsy. Clumsy people still have facial hair. This can only go well. Or so I thought. This happened about an hour ago. Every other month I shave my face with an electric clipper before I take a shower. Fair enough. I've done it for a while. I know what I'm doing. Some family's coming over, such as mom, stepdad, cousins, all for a weekly dinner we have. And I got a little scruffy in the face. Cut to the bathroom. I'm shaving in the shower. Drain plug so I can clean it easily, with a handheld shower wand as a mirror. Shaving my mustache first, then my beard. Then as I'm working on my right sideburn, I accidentally knock something over and I go to catch it. And the clipper is still running. Half my eyebrow was freaking gone. I didn't move my hand, but my head went into the clipper and half my eyebrow vanished. Now you can tell how clumsy I am. So I panic and try to fix it, only to make it worse. 5 minutes go by, and I messed up so badly my whole eyebrow was gone. The only thing I could bring myself to do was finish the job. I finished shaving my face, the other eyebrow, in an attempt to look balanced. I look in the mirror after drying off. I'm freaking dying. Keep in mind I have a mullet haircut and my facial hair and eyebrows are gone. I look like an uglier Dana White with hair. And keep in mind this is before my family gets here. I told them what happened, but they haven't seen it yet. My grandparents, my cousin, and my uncle have seen this mess, and that's too many people. Our next story comes from r/TIFU, posted by UUCat. TIFU by eating a pancake that went bad in my car and discovering I had cancer. Obligatory, this happened back in June of last year. So yeah, title pretty much sums it up. I live in Texas and it was a hot summer day, and like the absolute genius I am, I left 2 pancakes in my car. It must have been there from 10 a.m. to about 6 p.m. as I was doing quite a bit of errands and shopping. Long enough that it basically slow cooked itself in the sweltering heat. Now, instead of throwing it away like a normal person, my dumbass thought, hey, this is fine, right? I ate one of the pancakes. When I got home, I put the other in the fridge. Next morning, I felt a little off, but hey, it is what it is. I pulled the leftover pancake from the fridge, took a bite, and realized it tasted a little funny. I chalked it up to bad fridge taste. I went out with family to a buffet and felt kinda off, a little confused, and not very hungry. I drank a lot of Sprite and ate some shrimp, but felt like I got hit by a truck. A few hours later, right before bed, my body was like, we're gonna make you regret every decision you ever made. I got hit with the worst fever, chills, and pain imaginable. You know when you feel so bloated, you know you need to throw up to feel better? I struggled to get comfortable in bed and it hit me. I need to throw up, like right now. I made it to the bathroom just in time to throw up a pink sludge. Perfect. I thought I could just go back to bed at this point, but nope. I must have thrown up at least 8 times. My throat was absolutely raw at this point. It was 2 a.m. I had work in a few hours, but I had this feeling where I just felt like I was dreaming and I was pretty confused. I let my family know, hey, I think I need to go to urgent care. Turns out I had severe sepsis. Ended up being moved to the hospital where they kept me for a week, hooked up to IV antibiotics, feeling like death itself. While they were running a batch of tests and scans, the doctors were like, "Hey, you got cysts on both ovaries. Might want to check that out." But wait, there's more. During the scans, they also found a weird lytic bone lesion on my hip and femur. More tests, more scans, and surprise, I had multiple myeloma. And those ovarian cysts? Long story short, surgery happened this past week and I lost both my ovaries. Turns out those cysts weren't just cysts, they were teratomas, aka creepy tumor babies that had hair, size of lemons, both of them. So to recap, my incredibly dumb decision to eat a sun-baked pancake somehow led to finding out I had 2 ovarian monsters and cancer. If I hadn't gotten sepsis and ended up in the hospital, I wouldn't have known until way later, and things could have been much worse. So in the most messed up way possible, that stupid pancake might have actually saved my life. Edit. Some clarification because I didn't word this correctly, LOL. The pancakes were from a restaurant I went to that morning. I asked for a to-go plastic box and I placed that box in the back seat and just left it there while I ran errands. I suspect it was the pancakes and not the shrimp because by the time I was feeling super sick, it had to have been 25 hours since the pancake and maybe an hour after the shrimp. Plus, my brother gave the extra pancake to our dog who subsequently had violent Hershey squirts and had to be taken to the vet because she wouldn't eat. She got better after antibiotics. I think the pancakes hit hard because of the underlying undiagnosed cancer that had lowered my immune system. Plus, I would take Zofran, an anti-nausea medicine that would keep me from throwing up, and a lot of Pepto-Bismol. So my body couldn't get rid of the pancake until the next night after the Zofran had already worn off. I'm a little smooth-brained. I know you're not supposed to eat food after it's been sitting out, but I had a moment of weakness. The pancake was so good at the restaurant. Our third story is coming from r/TIFU, posted by user Doesn't Matter at All 03. TIFU, a series of poor choices. NSFW. So a little background first. I, a 39-year-old male, am in a long-distance relationship with my girlfriend, a 32-year-old female, and she's wonderful. I say long distance, but it's a 7-hour drive. She works for 3 weeks, then visits for a week, so it's not so bad. She's wonderful, but the time apart is relevant for this story. So she's coming to visit, and well, the hair situation is a bit wild and could do with a bit of work. A general hedge trim of the equipment is in order. Spruce the place up a bit and make it guest ready. Which means I turn to a trusty hair removal product called Veet, available in my country. See, trying to guide a razor blade around corners down there has led to a few scratches I don't want to discuss, so this product works great. See, it's a chemical cream which removes the hair. Downside, it burns. But frankly, I'm made of stern stuff and have done this before, so onward we go. So I apply the cream. I'll wait the 10 minutes listening to some music to distract myself. Yes, it's burning, but whatever, 10 minutes are up. Open the shower door, turn the tap, nothing. No water. Panic fills my brain as I realize the situation. See, I've given myself chemical burns with this stuff before, but I'm a slow learner. Sources of water in my house. Urgent. Kettle. Kettle has water. Grab kettle and sprawl out in bath. Thankfully, the water is warm rather than giving myself third-degree burns in my unmentionables. Kettle water, not enough. Crap. Water. Need water. Burn levels on my delicates hits 8 of 10. Check fridge. There is a 2-liter bottle of fridge water. Grab that bottle. Sprawl in bath again. The water is 3 degrees Celsius. It's difficult to describe the sensation. If you can imagine trying to have sex with a microwave in the middle of a blizzard, would be close. It's a cold, hot burn. The water is still not enough. The cold has, however, soothed the fire that's ramping up again. It's not done anything for my thinking, however. Crap. Need water. Kitchen is empty. Nothing. Look out the window. There is a shining moment where I notice something outside. The bird bath. It has water. Run outside. Take the top off the bird bath and place it on the bricks. Sit in the bird bath. Yes, my neighbors, if they looked outside, would see me doing this. Doesn't matter, rub furiously to get cream off. A small sense of relief washes through me as all the cream is off. This is quickly replaced by a massive sense of shame to realize I'm a grown man sitting nude in a bird bath in full view of my neighbors if they looked my way. Scurry back inside, lying in bed, spread eagle. By the sensitivity, I can tell which direction the winds are blowing. Ridiculous chemical burns. I curse not all my life choices in this moment so much as the life choices of my ancestors that led me to this moment. Our next story is coming from r/petty revenge, posted by user KennyV98. Teacher drank chalk sand coffee. When I was in my 4th year elementary school, which was at the end of the 90s, I had a new teacher. I was a bit of a brat back then, and I always got punished by writing tasks as homework. This one teacher was actually a replacement teacher for a teacher which I really liked. But she was pregnant and had her child, so she went into her motherhood holidays for a long while. The teacher who replaced her was an older man, gray hairs, maybe 50, 60 years old. Hair out of the nose and ears, incredibly blunt and always thinking he was the king of the school. A real old school teacher. One day I kept talking when he asked to keep quiet. He was walking around in class and smacked me by laying his hand with a ring on my cheek and slapping that hand with his other. Another time he pulled my ear so hard that I could hear the cartilage crackle. Mind you, this was the end of the 90s, and corporal punishments were already strictly forbidden in our country. This man was the first and only teacher I had or knew who had his own coffee machine in the classroom. It was a filter coffee machine since Nespressos and other kinds of coffee machines were not readily available back then, as far as I know, or maybe even non-existing. In break times, he always wanted one or more of the children cleaning the blackboard and doing some sweeping or other general cleanup. Again, not something I had or have since seen a teacher make a student do. This teacher was hated by the whole class, and everybody was pretty much scared of him. When he asked who was volunteering for the cleanup, I volunteered. This was together with a girlfriend of mine. When he left the classroom, I cleaned the blackboard with the erasers, and I cleaned the little shelf underneath used for the chalk, on which the chalk dust fell when the board was being written on. It was quite a lot. I mixed a small part in his mug, which still had some coffee in it. The other dust I threw in the pot of ground coffee he had on his desk, and I mixed it with a spoon of his. When the class restarted, I saw him drink the rest of his coffee. I almost couldn't control myself laughing. After a couple of days, I volunteered again, but I'd already made myself useful in the playground collecting some sand. I threw this in his ground coffee and had to stir it quite some time before it wasn't directly visible again. The days after this, I thoroughly enjoyed watching him drink coffee. Petty, but when you're a child taking on a big brute like that, it felt way less petty and definitely deserving. Our final story is coming from r/stories, posted by user Smoosa Champagne. I secretly recorded my professor making sexist remarks and got him fired. I'm a 26-year-old male and in my final year of university, and I had a professor, let's call him Dr. R, who always made weird, inappropriate comments. At first, I thought he was just old-fashioned, but over time I realized he was blatantly sexist. It started subtly. He would call on male students more often and dismiss female students' answers as lucky guesses. But as the semester went on, his comments became worse. He once said in class, "Women just aren't as naturally gifted in logic-based subjects." And another time, when a girl asked a question, he laughed and said, "If female students spent less time worrying about their looks and more time studying, maybe they'd get better grades." Whenever we had a difficult topic, he'd smirk and say, "This might be a little hard for the girls, but don't worry. Just smile at your lab partners and they'll help you out." Then one day he completely crossed the line. A girl in my class wore a tank top because it was hot outside. Nothing inappropriate, just normal summer wear. He paused the lecture and said, "Wow, dressing like that for extra credit? Bold strategy." Some people laughed awkwardly, but the girl looked mortified. She barely spoke for the rest of the class. That was when I decided to start recording. Over the next few weeks, I captured multiple instances of him making sexist comments. The worst was when he joked that women should focus on easier fields because STEM was too stressful for them. That one pissed me off because there were girls in the class working their asses off, and he was acting like they didn't belong there. I compiled everything and submitted it anonymously to the university's disciplinary committee. They launched an investigation, and within a month, Dr. R was fired. Now, some of my classmates, mostly the guys, are pissed at me. They say I ruined a man's career over a few jokes, and that I should have just ignored him. But a lot of the female students have thanked me, saying they've been uncomfortable in his class for years. So thanks for being with us. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, please follow or subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling extra nice, you might as well leave a 5-star review. But for more, visit the website, rrshow.com. That is rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince, and we'll see you next time here on The RR Show.